So here's another result of collecting through osmosis. And by that I mean I was watching XLT Off-Road Bear's channel, and he had this car in his collection. Unfortunately, he is missing a headlight, so I think I'm in better luck than him. But we're going to take a look at this guy. I believe this might be my very first Shelby Collectibles model. I might be wrong. I can't remember everything I get. But let's see if what's going on here. I've never seen this packaging before in person. There's no year of copyright or manufacturer. You would think it'd be in here, but I don't see it. Okay. So the DBR1 has a lot of racing credentials. This thing was developed in 1956, where the rules changed for racing, where they could actually make full-on race cars from scratch instead of using road cars. So this was designed to take on other cars in the World Sports Car Championship. And its most notable win would be the 1959 Le Mans, 24 Hours of Le Mans. It won outright, and I guess that's the only time Aston Martin won that event outright. So hold on, I gotta get through this. It also won 6 World Sports Car Championship races in a year, which was a pretty impressive feat for the time. And of 18 races this car competed in, it actually won 9 of them. So a 50% win rate is very impressive. Okay. So Ted Cutting is known to be the chief designer of this vehicle. The body evolved from the DB3S. And you'll notice this triangular vent on the side. I think this is the first Aston Martin to have such a vent, and it's a design feature found in all future Aston Martins. Even today's Astons have two little, a triangular vent with a little line bisecting it. Okay, so when the car first started racing, it had a 2.5 liter engine, but I believe later on it moved up to a 3 liter inline 6-cylinder, and that had 250 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much in today's standards. It's respectable by today's standards, but when you put it into an 800 kilogram car, that's what makes this a race car. Okay. This car was the most expensive British car ever sold at auction. In 2017, it sold for $22.5 million. And sadly, whoever owns this vehicle is crazy enough to drive it, or wealthy enough to not care about crashing it, because here it is. It's in a crash at some sort of a classic car race. So that's a $20 million accident right there. So, unfortunate. Okay. One thing I'm curious about is the scale of this thing, because I've never, purchased one of these. It looks correct. It looks small, but let's find out. So I found out online that the wheelbase of this thing is 2290 millimeters, that is. So let's get the calipers out and try to measure axle to axle. So 35.5. Alright, it's 1/64 scale. I'm not measuring it precise. There might be play in the axles, so I'm pretty sure that this thing was designed in 1/64 scale. Alright, so that's good to know. I can fit it in with other models and it won't look goofy. Alright, let's start with the front here. So this grill area is just blanked off, and it's must be part of the casting. I think this is a tongue and groove. This is part of the base, so that's what's trapping it in the front. No paint here, which is kind of weird. There's some fog lights here. Would have been nice to have some silver paint there. I do like that it does have the plastic headlamps. And then let's see about this badge, how good it is. Yeah, it's good. You can actually read Aston Martin. I guess that's Aston Martin. For some reason, I thought it said Aston Martin. Alright, these are some casting lines from the mold. There must be a part here, a 3-part mold or something. The number 5 is printed nice as a tampo. It's not a decal, so that's good for longevity. This green paint is metallic. Let me back out here. And it's okay. It's not the smoothest paint job, but it's not bad either. It's nothing to complain about, I guess. So the hood line, the door panel cuts, I'm not a fan of, but I don't know of any other 1/64 scale car that has, of this model, so there's really no choice, at least right now. This car is so iconic, though, to the history of Aston Martin. I would love to see a premium brand do this. Like a resin model of this would be fantastic. Okay, the hood is great because it actually opens all the way up. I hate when hoods only open like 10 degrees. It's just silly, right? But this, you can actually see the engine. Not gonna lie to you, that's kind of a weak engine, right? Like, there's nothing on the sides. It's just, I don't really think it's worth looking at. It's also unsightly to see the axle right there. So I think the model will look nicer without these opening features. I mean, why do you need opening doors on a convertible? It's not like you can't see what's on the inside, right? So it's just dioramas, alright. I guess it's for diorama people, but that's just something I don't really do anymore. Okay. So the side vents, yeah, painted black, and then the bisector here is silver, so that's nice. And, decent enough attempt for wire wheels. It's pretty hard for every manufacturer to try to get wire wheels, done nicely. It would have been nice to maybe have a black paint wash in there to really bring out the depth of the openings there. Unfortunately, this tire looks a bit jacked up, but I guess it's a rubbery tire, so I might be able to flip it around. It is on there pretty tight, so I don't know. Let's see, does this have a copyright on it? It's nice to see that this is a 1959 DBR. That was the last year that this thing competed, I guess. So, but unfortunately, it doesn't tell us when this was made, right? So I don't see it on the packaging. I don't know how old this mold is, so it's too bad. What is great, though, is it's got a screw here. So if there was a problem, you could fix it. Or if you wanted to paint that interior for some reason, you could. Although on the race car itself, it is a black interior, so that's accurate. But I guess you could easily paint the steering wheel brown to make it more realistic and maybe add some silver highlights in there. Okay, so yeah, the doors, they do work. I will say that these panels have good hinges. They work, so that's nice. Unfortunately, look, I thought that was a contaminant. No, that was an air pocket in the paint, so I've now torn that pocket open. Printing here. Alright. Very tiny bumps here for the tail lights. Would have been nice to have a little red paint there, but I guess it's easy enough to do on your own. Seeing how they stick out. Yeah, the tire treads are nice. Are they the same width? Yeah, they are the same width. So yeah, the width of these tires is just, I think, too wide for this car, but it's livable. It's not too goofy looking. So it's a small model, not much to go over. Some casting imperfections here. This one's got a dent in there. This side's much better. Well, I think it's just the color. Oh, there's some exhaust here. So it would have been nice to have these maybe black or silver. I didn't even notice them before. And then maybe some black paint in here would have been nice to have as well. So it's only on one side, the exhaust. No indication of it on the bottom, though. Oh well. So, excuse me. I'm congested. A lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to speak for more than 5 minutes without taking a pause and maybe some water. My throat gets dry, so I very often spontaneously cough in my reviews. So I apologize for that. But most of the time I'm just congested because I have 2 cats and their cat hair gets into my, respiratory system, and, well, that's not good for you, right? But I do love my cats. Alright. I sound like an old lady. Alright, let's compare to a couple other models here. Sadly, in front of this photograph of that crash. Okay, so I'm going to just pull out a bunch of cars from this era. The 1950s, maybe the early 60s. 1952, we have this Alfa Romeo Disco Volante. And this thing is an aerodynamic experimental car. And this model is made by, well, it's listed as a La Festa on eBay, where I got it from. But on the bottom it also says Yao Modellini. Alright. This next one is a 1955 300 SL by UCC Coffee. It's actually a free promo that came with 2 cans of coffee in Japan. I had to buy it off eBay though. And it's really nice for something that came free. It's quite impressive. This next one is a Lotus 11, again from that La Festa brand. This is from the 55 to 1958, I think. Alrighty. I'm going to put another, well, no, this is a Maserati. I was going to say Alpha, but it looks... Anyways, it's a 1959 to 1961 Maserati Tipo 61. And, boy, I'm going to lose the Benz. The Benz is too big, and it's also a coupe. This is made by Kyosho, and is a fantastic model, because you can see the bird cage frame, the tube frame. It's really, really nice. And Carol Shelby was the driver of this Tipo 61. You can see it on the fender. Alright, so the last car I'm going to pull is by Kyosho again, and this is a 250 Testarossa, the first one, which I think was around 1957 to 1961. So this is actually the car it would have been competing against. Possibly it would have been against that Tipo as well. So actually, let's put these two here. And actually, they would have been competing against this as well. Whatever, I'll just leave that up there for so you guys can see the size differences. So you'll see, you know, well, this is experimental. These race cars are all generally in the same league of dimensions. You might be curious about a more modern vehicle. So I'm going to put a big modern vehicle. This is a Bentley Azure by Kyosho. Alright, so cars have definitely gotten bigger over the decades. Safety, features, all that stuff. You got to put it all somewhere. Alright, I can leave that spinning, I guess. Okay, well, thanks to XLT Off-Road Bear. I would have never known this model even existed if it wasn't for, you know, your channel. But I love, you know, race cars, and I particularly love the voluptuous, curvy bodywork of this era of race cars, the 50s, the 60s. You know, I think that's the most appealing time frame for automotive design. So, big fan. And I'm lucky that this one, at least on the quality control side, it's actually, there's not much wrong. You know, there's a little paint bubble, but that's not a big deal. These models aren't very expensive, so you gotta accept that. Okay, well, hopefully I'll find some more, you know, random models as well by searching other people's channels, and I'll see you guys then.